Now, the reason we don't hear much from Kamala is because she's hiding from a radical past. The media isn't interested in sniffing out her San Francisco socialist track record, but we are. The Democrat nominee wants to empty the prisons.
I absolutely am without any question committed to reducing the prison population. I'm not going to commit to a specific number because I want to make sure I can meet it. But I am committed to drastically reducing our prison population.
Prisons, like walls, work, separates violent people from the rest of us. Look at El Salvador. Their president rounded up all the gang members, threw them in a high-security lockdown. El Salvador went from the murder capital of the world to one of the safest countries. They have a lower murder rate than we do. Investigative journalist Nick Shirley went down to El Salvador to check the mega prison out. Watch this.
It is the biggest and most up-to-date prison in all of the Americas. It is capable of holding over 40,000 inmates, and it is home to some of the most dangerous people in all of the world. This prison was specifically designed to incarcerate any gang member that has any affiliations with gangs such as MS-13, Barrio 18, and they are responsible for crimes such as murders, extortions, kidnappings, narco trafficking, drug dealing, any crime that you can possibly think of, these people inside have committed.
Nobody's ever escaped this prison.
There are 8 different buildings that are designated to the prisoners. The sides of the buildings are the size of a football field, absolutely ginormous. And if you were to try to escape Secot, it literally would be impossible. Not only are there 2 walls you'd have to hop over, and one of those walls is 27 feet high with an additional 9 feet of electrical fencing that is at 15 volts.
But it's not just about making sure nobody gets out. They don't want any contraband getting in.
Inside this jail, you get absolutely no service. These prisoners have absolutely no contact with the outside world, and they have no way of getting a hold of anybody. And the reason why they cut off the self-service here inside this building is because gang members used to be able to run their gangs from inside these jails. However, with these new rules that they have implemented, such as cutting off the service, these gang members have absolutely no contact with the outside world. I then went through the first of many security checkpoints. And now they're even going to do another check with us to make sure that we are not bringing anything inside of this jail. They're going to pat me all the way down, and they're even going to check my socks to make sure I don't have anything inside my shoes or my socks. Before we entered into the main cell of the prisoners, we had to go through one more security checkpoint. The scanner will literally scan the entire body to make sure there's nothing on the neck, inside the stomach. They'll literally check anywhere inside of the body to make sure that they're not bringing any sort of plastic bag that could be filled with powder, any weapons, anything like that family members or friends might have tried to bring gang members in the past. Now it is impossible for anything to even enter.
And here's what it looks like once you're inside.
Here are some of the most dangerous people in the world. You can see they have their tattoos. MS-13 is tattooed on their forehead. These people will never ever leave this building right here, and the lights also never shut off. And when these inmates want to go to sleep, they sleep here on these bunk beds that are completely still. And the way these prisoners sleep, they are given one sheet. They don't even receive a pillow, and they don't know if it's night or day because the lights never turn off. These guys were let out of the cell, and if you look at their heads are literally plastered to the cement wall, and they're not moving. All these gangsters are afraid of their life, and their freedoms have been stripped from them.
Shirley talked to some of the gangsters. Watch this.
Now they have asked the prisoners to take off their shirts so they can show some of their tattoos. ¿Y todavía se sienten orgullosos de ser bandero? ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí? ¿Y todavía se sienten orgullosos de ser bandero? And this group of gangsters' response was a little bit different than the last. No. All these guys were once prideful and running the streets of El Salvador. Now they are locked behind bars for the rest of their lives. It's pretty amazing if you think about it, what Nayib Bukele has been able to do with this country. The streets are as safe as they've ever been because all these guys are out.
Nick Shirley is an investigative journalist. Nick, were you scared?
You know, not really, because those guys are behind bars and they'll be there for the rest of their lives.
When they were incarcerated, did they commit serious crimes, all of them, or were they some just associated with gangs?
Each person inside that cell, inside of that prison, has at least killed one person. Oh. And it's very obvious, and they all have at least a tattoo that shows that they are part of MS-13 or Barrio 18 or other gang.
And so is the president the most popular man in the world in El Salvador? I mean, the crime rate has plummeted.
Yeah, Nayib Bukele is like the savior there in El Salvador. He has literally transformed that country into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
So how do the people feel about crime now? I mean, it's gone. Is this going to spread? Are other countries down there catching on?
You know, if any country was smart, if the United States was smart, they'd do something just like this as well, to make sure that no criminal gets treated like a normal person. They get treated like a criminal inside of a cell.
Yeah, but we have constitutional rights here. We also have thousands of lawyers licking their chops every time you sneeze on a prisoner. I mean, do you think that this was cruel and unusual?
Well, it is very cruel of somebody to take a life of somebody else that's innocent. So these guys being inside these jails is somewhat justifiable, I believe.
Do you guys notice the change? I saw you talk to some of those people. They weren't proud. Were some of them still proud?
The one guy did give me a little head nod, and he gave me a little grin when I asked him if he was proud. And the other ones, you could tell they really wish they never committed those crimes.
All right. What do they eat?
They eat beans, rice, and tortillas. Their menu consists of absolutely no protein.
No protein. And there's nothing smuggled. There's no corrupt guard, nothing like that. No visitors from the outside, like family members or wives.
These prisoners literally have no contact with the outside world, and they cannot talk to anybody.
Wow. Well, we could never get away with it in this country because we have the ACLU, but it is something to think about, and it's probably not what Kamala's thinking about. It's probably the opposite, but it's always nice to learn from other
Kamala
people.
wants to let him out.
Exactly.
And Kamala wants to bring him in.
That's right. Nick, thank you very much. You're a very brave man, much braver than I am. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.